Well, hello there, everybody, and thank you once again for joining us for another edition of the European Soccer Show. With me today, as ever, is the hay fever suffering Leo. Leo, thank you for joining us. Before I get the opportunity, Gesundheit, bless you, in case it comes up. How are you?
Thanks. Hello, Daniel. How are you?
I'm good. Today I've chosen to dress like the Windows 95 screensaver. So if anybody thinks that's what's happening, don't panic. It's just the top. Right. So let's dive straight into it. Another week of fascinating football in the top five European leagues. The headlines are as follows. In the Premier League, it was all about the set pieces for Arsenal and Liverpool as they dominated victories for each of those sides. Whereas set pieces for those two, but VAR in pieces for Burnley and the rest of us as the technology robbed Burnley of one of the greatest comebacks in Premier League history. In La Liga, Real Madrid, well, a gaff for Real Madrid at Getafe as the Lola club win 1-0 at the Bernabeu. And there's also a first hat-trick for Lamine Yamal, becoming the youngest ever hat-trick scorer in La Liga history. In Serie A, I'll be honest, I can't read my notes. I'll come back to that. My handwriting's so bad. In the Bundesliga, I think that's finally the title won. But you know what? St. Pauli pulling off miracles, much like St. Paul themselves, the namesake. St. Pauli win at Hoffenheim to lift themselves out of the relegation zone for the first time in about 4 or 5 months. In France, Lens stumble at Strasbourg. Whereas PSG managed to squeeze a 1-0 victory at Le Havre, as Barcola says, have Havre some of that. And of course, the Olympique, only one of the Olympic teams could win, and this time out it was Marseille. And in Serie A, I figured out what it says. Still life in the old lady yet, as Juventus come from behind yet again in one of their many wonderful matches this season, drawing at Roma. But we are going to start, as ever, with the Premier League. So I mentioned at the start, set pieces ring true for Arsenal. We're going to start with Arsenal winning 2-1 at home against Chelsea, maintaining their 5-point gap over Manchester City, who have a game in hand, and who also won their match 1-0 at Leeds United. But Arsenal benefiting from 2 set-piece goals, and it was announced this week that their set-piece coach actually gets a bonus every time they score a set-piece goal. So that is a rich man this year.
Yeah, of course. What did you think about that game? Because personally, I'm not really keen on Arsenal's approach of the game. And even Slot said it after the game between Liverpool and West Ham that the Premier League isn't as entertaining as it was a few years ago.
No, of course not. But the thing is, these things go in cycles, right? Like essentially, this will be the dominant way to play until someone figures out how to stop it. And it's been highlighted before. One of the best ways to stop it is to stop putting all your defenders in the box. If you leave 3 players up, then that means that first of all, the box isn't quite so crowded, and secondly, it means that the attacking team have to drop a couple of players back to cover the counter attack. So it will go eventually. It's just unfortunately in this season, it seems that the physicality of the Premier League, it seems like Manchester City as well as Arsenal, really relying on these like very tall, physically dominant players. The physicality has become the thing again.
I can't remember weren't it Chelsea against Arsenal in Cup or something like that who put it 3 players out of the box on a corner just to try to
I think it was the French side. I forget, it was one of Arsenal's early matches in the Champions League this season, but I think it was against the French side, and they left 3 players up, and everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, what's happening here?" But other teams have done it before. It's just very few seem to have that bravery to do it. And I suppose when you have someone like Gabriel in the box, essentially it's if there are fewer players in the box, he's going to win the header anyway.
Yeah.
But that's not you have to find different ways to stop it. But currently, the tactic of get as many people between them and the goalkeeper as possible doesn't work. But it just hasn't seemed to have caught on yet. A word on Chelsea, though, because there were times with this match where they were looking pretty strong. They looked like causing Arsenal a scare. William Saliba scored the opening goal in the first half before an Nketiah own goal in first half stoppage time equaled things up. And then Julian Timber got the second goal later on. But another red card for Chelsea. Pedro Neto getting 2 yellow cards in the space of 3 minutes. His first one for protesting Timber's goal. So he got a yellow card for dissent. And then 3 minutes later, he got a second yellow card for bringing down Martinelli on a breakaway. Do you want to guess how many red cards that is for Chelsea this season now?
8 or 9, no?
It's 9. It's actually 7 in the Premier League, which means that's a red card 1 every 4 matches. That's incredible. A quarter of all of Chelsea's matches in the Premier League this season, they've had to play with, at some point, a man fewer. That speaks volumes about the naivety of this young team, but also just the lack of discipline throughout the season.
Yeah, it's incredible to have 9 players sent off. It's obviously it's difficult for them to win some games when you are playing in numeral with less players than your opponent, especially against Arsenal. And I think this game showed everything Chelsea do well and everything Chelsea do bad. Notably with this red card. Pedro Neto, I think he's a great player. He has risen this season, but he's always in tension when you see him play. I don't think he really reflect on how he should play. He puts so much intensity in everything he does. You've mentioned his first yellow card for arguing with the referee. I think it's perfectly who he is as a player.
Absolutely. And actually, we should probably say that Chelsea were unlucky not to find the equaliser at the end of the match because they forced David Raya into a couple of really good saves. And in fact, Chelsea did have the ball in the net in stoppage time, but it was disallowed for offside. And rightly so, we should say. But actually, a funny little quirk, because every single match in the Premier League on Sunday ended 2-1 to the home side. So Brighton defeated Nottingham Forest. Danny Welbeck got a goal in that, and it was announced this week that he signed a 1-year contract extension. So he'll be playing there until he's 35 currently, so staying there another year. Manchester United defeating Crystal Palace 2-1. So Manchester United now up to 3rd because on Friday, Aston Villa were at Wolverhampton Wanderers and lost. So Wolves defeating Aston Villa 2-0. Goal for Gomez, a goal for a different Gomez. 2 separate Gomez's did not score. But with that result, Wolves actually better the record and a low points total, so they are officially not the worst team in Premier League history. So they're actually finding a bit of form, Wolves of late. But yes, Manchester United up to 3rd place. Another late goal for Šeško. Manchester United. The point's been made this week of Michael Carrick's wonderful start as interim manager. And now there's a lot of talk about the trap of not hiring him full time, considering what a wonderful job he's doing. But this was the worry beforehand, wasn't it? The worry that this is what happened last time with Solskjaer, who did a wonderful job as interim manager, was then handed the position full time, but then also couldn't quite hit the consistency once you took in things like transfers and the long-term projects into consideration. Didn't quite have enough about him. Are Manchester United at risk of doing this again? Because there's a lot of clamour for giving Carrick the job full time.
The thing is that I agree with what you are saying about Solskjaer and everything, but there is some factual things which are that Michael Carrick is the joint best. I saw a tweet from Manchester United. He's the joint best start after 9 games by any manager or head coach in Premier League history. So even if you
read and wait, eager Tudor.
Yeah, you could be tempted to try to bring in um, a big manager, a big name, but why wouldn't Michael Carrick be the man? You gave him a chance in 2021 by replacing. Did he replace Solskjaer, Rangnick?
Rangnick, I think it was. Yeah.
Rangnick, yeah. He didn't lose a game. He is now the manager of Manchester United. He didn't lose a game, and he put them in third place. It's the first time since 2023 they are as high at this high in the table. So why you should? I think they should give him a chance because he's doing terrific things. The transfers from last summer transfer window finally prove decisive. We can talk about Sesko because he scored decisive goals in the past weeks, but as a substitute, he was a starter this weekend and scored once again to give Manchester United 3 points. So he has the experience of the club, of the Premier League, of course. I think he should be given the chance to prepare his team next summer and for the season to come.
He certainly hasn't put a foot wrong yet. I mentioned it before, Igor Tudor, because that's 2 games for in charge of Tottenham Hotspur and 2 defeats, losing at Fulham 2-1. Goals for Harry Wilson and Iwobi, Richarlison pulling one back in the second half. Now, last week against Arsenal, there was this whole build-up about, is this the Spurs? Are they going to be? Is that intensity in the stadium? Is that going to spill onto the pitch and galvanize the players? And it turned out after a few seconds, no, it wouldn't. But this week was somehow more concerning because that first half against Fulham was atrocious. And this is meant to be the new manager bounce. This is meant to be the new voice, the new ideas, trying to inspire these players. And there's nothing so far to suggest it's working.
Yeah, because I think Tottenham, they are a team in crisis. They lack about everything. Solid defense. They concede too much goals. They lack attacking players being able to prove decisive. They don't score a lot of goals. Now beating Crystal Palace on Thursday will be crucial for them because then they will face a Champions League tie.
I'm going to say, so on that note, so the next match, home against Crystal Palace, which is suddenly essential because the matches after that, away at Atletico Madrid, away to Liverpool, and then home to Atletico Madrid, so 3 big matches, and then home to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
So if, for example, if they don't beat Palace, then suddenly that home match against Forest could jump over them at that point, but with a victory.
And the fact that they will play in the Champions League, whether they win, they qualify or not to Atletico, it will be a tense game, a tense tie with a lot of with a lot of energy left in these 2 games. So the fact that they finished in the top 8 in the Champions League, it's cool. It's good for the club if we talk about money, because you earn a lot of money if you finish high in the table. But it could be a poison gift for Tottenham.
Just to run through the rest of the results on Saturday for everybody. So Bournemouth drew at home against Sunderland 1-1. Actually, we didn't get a chance to speak. There's Burnley 3, Brentford 4. An insane match. But I want a quick word on Burnley because, for those of you who weren't aware, Brentford took a 3-0 lead in this match. And then Burnley managed to come from behind 3-3. Burnley briefly thought they took the lead with about 15 minutes left. Only for VAR to rule Jadon Anthony offside. And we should point out it's one of those offsides where the only thing offside was his shoulder. which seemed cruel because not only did it take a long time for that to be ruled, but then it took away for the fans one of the greatest comebacks of all time. And then to really rub salt into the wound, Brentford scored a late winner, but then Ashley Barnes scored a fourth equaliser, or rather an equaliser for the fourth goal, 4-4 in the 9th minute stoppage time, in which there was a near 5-minute delay for then it was the goals ruled out for handball, and it was a minor infringement at that. So VAR seems to have absolutely ruined Burnley in this match, and it seems unfair because the turnaround was genuinely unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a crazy game. What should have been a normal 4 p.m. A 3 p.m. Kickoff game turned into total chaos. But concerning
sorry.
Yeah.
Also, it's wonderful to see that Burnley, like the players are still playing. Like it's not that they've not down tools; they still believe. And also, we should point out part of the cruelty of this is had VAR not disallowed that fourth goal, and had Burnley won that match, which that's the way the momentum was going, Burnley would have only been 5 points away from safety. So suddenly that's doable. 10 matches to go, 5 points, and they'd have had 2 victories in the last 4 matches. Suddenly there's a possibility, but it did seem that it was robbed from them, from technology.
Yeah, but I have my opinion on VAR is that an offside is black or white. Sorry, it's an offside or it's not an offside. I'm struggling to find, because there is the Wenger rule which has been discussed.
Daylight,
I think the offside is the only thing, or one of the only things in football. It's binary. It's an offside or it's not an offside, and of course it's difficult for Burnley fans to accept that for just a shoulder or the handball is different, but for a shoulder or just 5 centimeters on the foot, it's difficult, but it's an offside. And
I would personally, I've got 2 suggestions. One being that, because of course in the Premier League, unlike other places in Europe, the Premier League has like a 6 centimeter rule. So the line on each part is a bit thick. So if they overlap, it's fine. I think that should be bigger. I think the margin of error should be larger. Maybe say, I don't know, like 12 inches, like either way, right? Or take it like sprinting in the Olympics. Sprinting, it's taken by the chest. Right, so in all races, you measure where the chest goes. How about that? Anyway, we have to move on. That's too long in the Premier League. But just to tell the other results, Liverpool defeated West Ham United 5-2, and Newcastle United lost at home 3-2 against Everton. The 3rd match in a row they've lost at home 3-2, where Jordan Pickford pulled off possibly the save of the season from Tonali. Right, that's a long old Premier League roundup. We're going to move over to Serie A. Now, sorry, I'm trying to think of other ones like League Serie A. Now, undoubtedly, the game of the weekend here: Roma 3, Juventus 3 on Sunday. Now, Roma went into this match 4 points ahead of Juventus in this fight for the 4th Champions League spot. They took the lead through Wesley. Francisco Conceição equalised for Juventus after half-time. But then Ndicka and Marlon gave Roma a 3-1 lead with only about 10 minutes to go, and yet Juventus came from behind again. Now, we have to say, this is kind of astonishing because, first of all, not only have Juventus been involved in possibly all of the best matches of the season, but obviously midweek they almost pulled off an astonishing comeback against Galatasaray, despite being down to 10 men. And you'd think that they wouldn't have the legs for this match, considering the intensity played at that match. But they just kept going. It really is impressive.
Yeah, because it's almost quite funny because Spalletti has turned Juventus into a scoring machine. They scored 3 against Roma. They scored 3 against Galatasaray. They scored a lot of goals, but they are far from perfect in terms of defense, which is quite unusual when you remember Juve a few years ago with the centre backs Bonucci, Chiellini, Barzagli, who were considered one of the best defense in the world at the moment. So it's interesting, but I really think that with the next summer transfer window, and if Juventus recruits the players Juventus should recruit concerning their status and everything, and with the help of Spalletti, because he helped players, some players. I can think of where McKinney, for example, he helped him improve his performances. I think they could be a real outsider for next season.
Of course, it all depends on where they finish, because if they don't have the Champions League giving them that
Yeah.
extra prestige. Speaking of which, so currently in fourth place are Roma on 51, and in fifth place, 3 points behind them, Como. So on Saturday, Como defeated Lecce 3-1 to move into fifth place and touching distance of the Champions League. Como are the team that a lot of other teams are worried about, aren't they? Because obviously with Fiorentina dropping down so far, the top 6 places seem to be fairly predictable. You know, Inter, Milan, Napoli, Roma, Juventus, Atalanta. You know, they're the teams that are expected to get into European competition, probably Bologna after that. And yet Como are going to force several of them out of those European spots. They've been quietly going about their business, haven't they? And are just consistently impressive.
Yeah, they are. This season, they have lost 5 games in Serie A, and when you take a look at the names of their opponents, I think they lost against Inter, they lost against Napoli, they lost against Fiorentina. So they only lost 2 big names, or partly lost two big names, and they have incredible results against some of the big names, AC Milan. They did against Juventus, Atalanta. So they are really great. They are doing a great season. So they are real contenders to Champions League football, not even European.
Well, actually, something you said reminded me that this kind of Juventus, as wonderful as they did midweek, the damage was done at Galatasaray, losing 5-2 there. But Juventus now don't have any other competition to concentrate on for the rest of the season, whereas Como are in the
Coppa Italia,
Coppa Italia semi-final to come against Inter. Atalanta, obviously, are the only Italian team left in the Champions League. They've still got matches there. Roma are facing, I think, Bologna in the Europa League. So all the other teams fighting for that 4th Champions League spot have other priorities as well. However, Juventus, everything's on this. So there's kind of no excuse now. They've got the they've got the cleanest run to it, I should say.
Yeah, I think they must finish in the Champions League qualifying spot, because, as you said, they are the only team between Atalanta and Como to not have other competition to play, especially since I think Como will give everything it takes to win this Coppa Italia, because it could help to how can I say that? If they win the title with,
I was going to say it gives a real clarity on the project.
Because that's what I want to
play
say.
It as investors. So far, it's all been going the right way, and suddenly, if they get a trophy to actually go with it all, suddenly it confirms that this is going in one direction only.
Yeah, of course, because we have to recall that they are the wealthiest club in Serie A, one of the wealthiest in the world, with their fantastic investors. They have a great coach with Cesc Fabregas, who is doing tremendous things with a squad. If you take name by names, it's not the biggest players in European top 5, of course, and he's doing great. So yeah, it's a good project, and I'm looking forward to see what they are going to do in the summer transfer window.
Take you through some results from Serie A. On Friday, Parma and Cagliari played out a 1-1 draw, both of them seeming to be confident of their safety from relegation. Saturday, Hellas Verona 1, Napoli 2. An important victory for Napoli to also just keep their noses in front for that third Champions League spot, but also an important goal for Romelu Lukaku, scoring his first goal of the season, I believe, and really emotional scenes afterwards.
Yeah, it was an important goal at the 96th minute of the game. Romelu Lukaku had struggled this season. He was also injured, so
and we should probably point
really,
out in September his father died as well. So
yeah,
like
yeah,
recovering from a serious injury, is a significant member of his family passing away.
yeah.
That all that emotion came out after scoring this goal. So I mean, Phil pleased as punch for him in this situation.
Yeah, very important for him and for Napoli because another result than a victory against Hellas Verona, who are bottom of the table, would have been a negative result for Napoli. So everything positive from this game.
Elsewhere on Saturday, Inter won 2-0 at home against Genoa, goals for Di Marco and Çalhanoğlu. And on Sunday, AC Milan won at Cremonese 2-0 to keep the gap between them and Inter a mere 10 points heading into the Milan derby. Surprise result, Sassuolo 2, Atalanta 1. Atalanta with that monumental comeback in the Champions League midweek, scoring a 95th minute winner to send them through to the next round. Astonishing scenes, but it seemed like they were lacking a bit in this game. But also impressive from Sassuolo, 2-1 for the newly promoted side.
Yeah, I want to point Sassuolo. We did it last week, but as you said, they are a promoting side. It's incredible to be. Their season is incredible. They are now ninth in the table. They will not compete in Europe next season because there is a gap between them and the European spots. But it's really encouraging. Also for Fabio Grosso, who had difficulties in his last experience in Serie A. So it's a great season from Sassuolo.
And the last results to tell you about Torino with a vital victory at home against Lazio, 2-0 to them, pulling them 6 points clear of the relegation zone. And on Monday, Bologna won at Pisa 1-0 and 3-0 Udinese against Fiorentina. Fiorentina, just slightly concerning that because in recent weeks they've had a couple of disappointing results. Midweek in the Europa League, they had was it the Conference League? I think it's one. They had an awful result and managed to squeeze through by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah.
But it just seems like that momentum they had been building to get themselves out of the relegation spot here, the last few weeks have seen them really fall into old bad habits.
Yeah, you're right. Hopefully for them, all of their competitors have also lost this weekend. It's like for Tottenham with Forest and West Ham having lost against their different opponents. But with only 24 points, they are on the same level as Lecce and Cremonese. So it will be a tough battle till the end.
Yeah, we should probably point out the bottom six in Serie A all lost, so no change at the bottom of the table, apart from, I should say the only team being Torino, who their victory does pull them slightly further away from relegation worries. Okay, let's park that there and go over to the Bundesliga. The Bundesliga, and the big story of the weekend was that the title race is officially done. Borussia Dortmund 2, Bayern Munich 3. Bayern pulling 11 points clear of Dortmund, who are themselves 6 points ahead of Hoffenheim and Stuttgart in second place. In this match, Nico Schlotterbeck gave Dortmund the lead, which they took into half-time. But then after the break, Harry Kane with a couple of goals, one of which from the penalty spots, which brings him to 45 goals in all competitions this season.
Yeah.
My God. Svensson did equalise for Dortmund, but a late Joshua Kimmich goal gave Bayern the win. Bayern doing what Bayern need to do. They consistently raise their game against the bigger sides.
Yeah. first of all, it was a great game in a great atmosphere at the Westfalenstadion. Um, you have to we have to note that Nico Schlotterbeck has a roller coaster of a game because firstly before scoring the opening goal he was almost sent off after a challenge on I don't remember who it was, but it was a really tough challenge. He just escaped from the red card after a VAR review. Then he scored and he provoked the penalty converting for by Hurricane. So he had a terrific game. You've mentioned Hurricane. I don't think we have a lot of things to say about him.
Well,
I took a look.
someone pointed out. I think he's only 12 goals away from Lewandowski's record of scoring a number of goals in a single season in the Bundesliga. But of course, from here on out, Bayern's priority might not be like playing Harry Kane in the league, considering that 11 points gap, they could probably afford to rotate a little bit, try and get, and they're also in the DFB Pokal, so they are going for the treble. So minutes managed. So Kane getting that record is not the priority.
No, but if he can do it, I'm sure he will.
Yes, we should probably have a quick chat about Dortmund because Dortmund are in a funny position. We've spoken before about like their identity, and we're not sure tactically what they are. And there's going to be a bit of a squad turnover this summer. A lot of talk, for example, Emre Can, who I think did his ACL or one of his crucial in the match, and that possibly has played his last game for Dortmund because he's out of contract at the end of this season. As is Niklas Süle, I think. Nico Schlotterbeck's into his last 18 months. There's even talk about players like Girassi being moved on because of his age and his inconsistency. This feels like quite a moment for Dortmund because we have had so many of these sort of false starts and then they go through a couple of seasons of transition without actually having a new direction. So it does feel like this next summer could be, again, another opportunity to point in a specific direction and a new tactical identity.
Yeah, but I think it's difficult because each season we say that Dortmund are maybe at a turning point to finally be able to fight for the title of Bayern. But each season it's the same thing. They take young players, they transfer some on loans, and then they don't manage to finally battle for the title. So I think they need a clear direction and maybe spend a little more for players who are sure to be totally involved in the project, and maybe I would not say better player, but play a plus player to compete with Munich.
Let's take you some results for the Bundesliga. So on Friday, Augsburg defeated Köln 2-0. On Saturday, a damaging result for Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen won, Mainz won. Mainz's excellent form continues. That's 11 points from their last 6 matches. 3 victories, 2 draws, and a single loss. Amazing from the relegation-threatened side. Elsewhere, Borussia Mönchengladbach, a precious victory, 1-0 over Union Berlin, gives them a bit of breathing space over the relegation zone. But possibly the biggest result of the weekend regarding shocks, Hoffenheim 0, St. Pauli 1. St. Pauli, for the first time, I think, since September, are out of the relegation zone. Again, much like Mainz only a couple of months ago, were doomed. Everybody had written them off, and astonishing turnaround. That's 3 wins in the last 4 matches for St. Pauli. The single goal scorer there being Lager, which coincidentally was what the fans were all involved with afterwards. Astonishing result for St. Pauli, and shows just what a team can achieve with a bit of momentum, but also, I suppose, spirit, fight, determination, because that's essentially what Mainz have done with the same manager they've had throughout the season. You just got to applaud them for the turnaround.
Yeah, especially since it's only their second win away from home this season. The first was the the first in 7 months in the Bundesliga. So it was already a major event for them. Now they are just above the relegation zone, 1 point clear of Bremen. So the battle because between Wolfsburg and Hamburg, it's only 6 points between them. So it will be interesting to see
Well, I was going to. I'm
which
sorry
team.
to jump in
Yeah,
here. I was going to jump in with the table. So obviously, last place Hoffenheim, 14th. But Wolfsburg were the only team in the bottom six outside of outside of Heidenheim. Sorry, not to
Heidenheim.
get points. So Wolfsburg are now in the relegation zone on 20 points. Werder Bremen, despite their victory over Heidenheim, 2-0. They stay in 16th place on 22. St. Pauli 23. Mainz are on 23. Köln are on 24. Mönchengladbach 25. So, so all of these teams above Wolfsburg are picking up points and now seem to be scrapping amongst themselves. But Wolfsburg are plummeting. On Sunday, they lost at Stuttgart 4-0. Now, to be fair, Stuttgart are a good team. They've had good form recently. But you are worried about Wolfsburg, aren't you? I mean, we all should be. Again, their form has been atrocious.
Yeah, the situation is worrying, as you said, because they are a team that concede at least 1 goal per game. Every game they concede 1, 2, 3 goals, 4 goals this weekend, and they have the joint worst defense in the league. So it's not a surprise to find them in the relegation zone with that record. But remember where Wolfsburg were some years ago. It's kind of worrying to find them in that situation.
See if they can turn it around, much like other teams have already this season.
Yeah.
The other results to mention: Frankfurt defeated Freiburg 2-0 to boost their own European hopes, and RB Leipzig registered a 2-1 victory at Hamburg, coming from a goal back behind to win that one. So yeah, in the Bundesliga, third place Hoffenheim 46, Stuttgart on 46 in fourth, RB Leipzig in fifth on 44, and Bayern in sixth on 40. So yes, real fight for the Champions League spaces there as well. Right, we should go to La Liga. And we mentioned the big news there that Real Madrid lost at home against Getafe just last night. The only goal coming from Satriano in the first half. End of the match, bit chaotic. Mastantuono having a straight red in the 5th minute of stoppage time. Then Getafe's Liso having a second yellow and getting sent off in the 7th minute of stoppage time. But Getafe held on for a 1-0 victory at the Bernabeu. A famous victory for Getafe. Not only does that condemn Real Madrid to a second straight loss and are now 4 points behind Barcelona in the title chase, but Getafe are now safe, it feels. They're not only safe, but they're only 4 points behind a European spot. It's insane.
Yeah. And I've got a breaking news concerning Real Madrid, and it's a thing you may have missed because it's a breaking news. Rodrigo has torn his ACL and he will be out for the World Cup.
So that's a shame.
Yeah.
Although he wasn't guaranteed a spot anyway, he's not playing enough, to be honest. Considering Brazil have wingers.
Yeah, of course, but I think he would have been in the squad for the World Cup at least. But
it's one of those players that I do hope actually leaves Madrid next season. In the summer, even though he's ruptured his ACL,
I remember
to play. If he goes to Arsenal, he'll be the starting left winger. Never mind.
Yeah, or at Manchester City, I remember it was talked about some months ago.
Yeah.
But
it was a poor performance from Madrid against Getafe.
Yeah.
Another one.
To be honest, they dominated the game, but they conceded a goal. The only thing is that they conceded a goal that came out of nowhere. Martin Satriano, he played for Lyon during the first half of the season. I
thought I recognized the name.
Yeah, I never saw him trying his chance like that, trying a shot like that, and it was a total screamer and a vital goal for Getafe, as well as for Barca, because Now they are 4 points ahead
Well,
of
it's a good
Madrid.
segue. It's a good segue after Getafe's third victory in 4 matches. Again,
Yeah.
keeps them safe in La Liga another season. But yeah, as I said, Barcelona 4, Villarreal 1 on Saturday. Lamine Yamal, his first hat trick, the youngest hat trick scorer in La Liga history, and especially was it his second goal that was an absolute screamer.
Yeah, because this season there has been a lot of talk about Lamine Yamal being able to score against big opponents, against top teams. And I think he responded well against Villarreal with this hat trick. Even if the second goal is special, the first two are also uh, impressive because he proved to be so calm on the ball, calm on the situation. But he's a great player, one of the best, if not the best in the planet.
Yeah, it's already talking in the same breath as Ballon d'Or winners already at the age of 18.
But I'm sorry because I've just said that he's maybe the best player on the planet, but Lionel Messi is still on the planet, so he isn't.
Well, I don't know. These days, you could run rings around him, where only you could pass around him. Anyway, on Friday, Levante defeated Alaves 2-0 to maintain their slim hopes of survival. On Saturday, Rayo Vallecano played out a 1-1 draw with Athletic Club. Mallorca lost at home 1-0 against Real Sociedad. Real Oviedo lost at home 1-0 to Atletico Madrid. Julian Alvarez with the goal in stoppage time there to get the win. On Sunday, Elche drew 2-2 with Espanyol, which is a result that doesn't really help either teams opposite ends of the table. But Valencia won, Osasuna 0. Osasuna's fantastic form coming undone against Valencia. And with that victory, Valencia, for the first time in about 5 months, are not within touching distance of the relegation zone. They are 5 points clear of Mallorca. Such an important result for Valencia there.
Yeah. As you said, 5 points. Of course, it's a good gap for them, especially with the context of the club for a few years now. We've been worrying about the club maybe being relegated in the La Liga 2, but it doesn't seem they will be relegated now. They can even look ahead of them because Girona, Sevilla, even Retafe are not really far from them. So 1 or 2 victories more to be sure of being in the top flight next season, and they could look up.
Well, actually, it's something I forgot to mention with Getafe, because I mentioned Mallorca losing at home to Real Sociedad. So Mallorca are currently 18th on 24 points. Elche on just above the relegation zone on 26. Alaves 27. Vallecano 27. Valencia 29. So that's how close it is. But it does seem to be that the large group of teams that were worried about relegation is just gently getting smaller. But we should highlight Getafe 3 weeks ago were below Mallorca. So that's the difference. 3 victories in 4 matches, and Mallorca have lost each one. And Mallorca are currently in the relegation zone, and Getafe are dreaming of Europe. Speaking of Europe, another result on Sunday: Real Betis 2, Sevilla 2. The Seville derby. Betis throwing away a 2-goal lead to draw that match, but Celta Vigo finally finding some form to end the season, winning 2-1 at Girona and coming from a goal behind to do so, meaning that Celta Vigo are currently 6th on 40 points, only 3 points behind Real Betis. Now, we should highlight, so considering the Italian sides were knocked out of the Champions League in midweek, it's almost certain that Spain will be getting the 5th spot along with the Premier League. Getting the 5th spot for the Champions League spot. So currently it's Barcelona 64, Real Madrid on 60, Atletico and Villarreal on 51, then Real Betis on 43, Celta Vigo on 40. Celta Vigo are in the running for a Champions League spot, which is kind of again, I say the word unbelievable again, but it was only a couple of months ago that they were still relegation candidates.
Yeah. I do think Real Betis have the biggest chance to qualify for the Champions League, but because they are both qualified in the round of 16 of the Europa League, and Lyon will knocked out Celta Vigo from the competition, so they will have less games to play than Real Betis. So we will
That's a
have.
good point. Yeah, that's a good point. And elsewhere in La Liga, regarding the tables, so you got Espanyol on 36, who just can't seem to find a win anywhere. Real Sociedad on 35, Athletic Club on 35, Osasuna on 33, and that's 10th place. And in 11th, Getafe on 32. So actually, the place for the Conference League, that could be any of those clubs, including Getafe. So that's very exciting. We should probably go over to League 1. And the big news was the, is it the Derby d'Olympique? How would you describe it?
In France, we call it the Olympique or the Olympico, but
Yes, of
I
course.
prefer the Olympique. It's like,
Olympique.
yeah, because we even for the PSG Marseille game, some called it the Classico, but not. It's just Le Classique.
Yeah, it's a bit of a creation, that, isn't it? Same thing in Germany. The Klassiker doesn't actually exist. It's just for the
Yeah.
TV. But yes, so Marseille 3, Lyon 2. You were messaging me throughout this game, and obviously heartbreak towards the end. But what a match! Lyon started it perfectly. A goal through Tolisso in the first half gave him the lead, and at that point, Lyon would have been 8 points clear of Marseille had they held on for the victory and that chase for the Champions League spot. But Marseille equalised through Paichao before Lyon got the lead again. And then 2 late Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang goals. It's hard for you to say, but was it deserved because Marseille really did end the match with the grip of the game? It felt like it was only going to be one winner.
Yeah, I think Marseille deserve the victory. I think a draw would have been maybe more fair given the game. Lyon, it's a tough defeat for them because despite all their absences, because you have to note that Malik Fofana, Ernesto Afonso Moreira, and Pavel Sulc were for the former player with the most assists of the team, and Pavel Sulc is the top scorer of the team, were all out of this game. They played a very respectable game, and even they even led until the 81st minute. But the thing is that I think the depth of Marseille bench made the difference because, for example, the scorer Hugo Rémi Humbert for Lyon, the scorer of the second goal, is only 18. He was just playing his maybe second, third, or fourth game as a professional. The options for Paulo Fonseca were really restricted, but Marseille.
I was going to say, I would point out Marseille were playing, was it Ethan Nwaneri, who's himself only 18. You know?
Yeah, but it's I don't think
Experience.
it's the experience isn't the same.
That is a fair point. Yes, that result means that Marseille are just 2 points behind Lyon in third place. Lyon, that's 2 losses on the bounce after those 13 victories in a row in all competitions. Anything to be worried about, or is this just having played two good teams?
I think the way and the time when Malik Fofana, who has been out for months now, Afonso Moreira and Pavel Sulc will come back, will be important for the end of the Lyon season because they will play Lens in the Coupe de France on Thursday, which will be, of course, a tough game. They will play the Europa League, being on the left side of the table, which is on the paper easier than the right side. They will absolutely need to win some games. They will play Paris FC on next weekend. I'm not worried about the end of the season because I do think their season is already a win because of everything we've said about
Yeah, it's a
the
really good point. And
situation.
as well, we should highlight, the two losses were at Strasbourg and
And at
at
Marseille, yeah.
Marseille, which are two very difficult sides. Speaking of which, Lens dropped points again on Friday, drawing 1-1 at Strasbourg. Now, unlike last week, when they dropped points at home against a tired Monaco side and threw away 2-goal lead, this felt a bit different, wasn't it? Lens actually dominated, 25 shots to Strasbourg's 8, but only 5 shots on target. It felt like they could have won this match, but it was just, again, it's a difficult opponent. So do you think this is 2 points dropped, or actually, you know what, a point at Strasbourg is still a good result?
In terms of raw results, securing a draw at Strasbourg is always a positive outcome given the quality of the squad. But in their situation, if they want to fight for the title, it demands a perfect run. And with PSG winning at Le Havre the next day, and now being 4 points ahead of Lens, it's a bad result when you put that into perspective.
You got a couple of situations in, for example, the Premier League and here, where the top two still have to face each other, which could just be beautiful.
Yeah.
Or a complete anticlimax, depending on how it goes. Elsewhere in League on Saturday, Rennes beat Toulouse 1-0 to continue their push for European competition. Same with Monaco, a 2-0 victory over Angers. Means that they stay within touch of the European competition despite their terrible mid-season slump. As we mentioned, Paris Saint-Germain won at Le Havre 1-0 through Bradley Barcola. And on Sunday, Paris FC defeated Nice 1-0, and in doing so, leapfrogged them, meaning that Nice may be the worst team in the league, despite the fact they're not going to get relegated.
Yeah.
Lille defeated Nantes 1-0. Same. They're only 3 points behind Marseille now in a push for Champions League qualification. Lorient 2, Auxerre 2, and Metz 0, Brest 1, I should say. Yes, so the fight for Europe now, let's say, so we've had Lyon in third on 45, Marseille in fourth on 43. Then you got Lille on 40, Rennes on 40, Monaco on 37, Strasbourg on 35. So with only 10 matches left to play, I think it is, Strasbourg are 10 points behind Lyon, so unlikely to be able to catch. 8 points behind Marseille. Is that too far to catch for Strasbourg? And in doing so, I'm basically wondering who could still qualify for the Champions League, because do we include Monaco, whose form has been fantastic in the last month?
No, I think the race for the Champions League will be between Lyon, Marseille, Lille, and Rennes. Even if we could put Monaco in because their run is really interesting. Even if they were eliminated from the Champions League by PSG last week, sorry. But the thing is that they also have a lot of injured players, which could cost them on the final third of the season.
Right, let's leave League there then, and we should probably talk about the things we may have missed, because there are a few things we may have missed. What do you have for me, Leanne?
I have only one this week, plus the Rodrigo unfortunate news. Sorry for him.
Yeah.
But it's in Denmark, where FC Copenhagen are the reigning champions. They have had such a difficult season that they will now have to compete in relegation playoffs in the second half of their season to remain in the top flight. And in the worst case scenario, they could find themselves relegated and playing in the second division for the first time in their entire history.
Well, that is interesting. Things you may have missed, just a couple of updates. First of all, for example, for those of you that follow Wrexham, that's now 3 wins on the bounce for them. So Wrexham, with only 11 matches to go, which is less than a quarter of the season, they are still in the playoffs. They now have a 4-point gap between them and the team below them, which is Southampton. So Wrexham really are looking good for the playoffs. They're actually only 5 points behind third place, although automatic promotion is probably out of reach. But we should go to Scotland. So the race for the Scottish Premiership is possibly one of the most interesting title races. How many teams do you think are in this title race?
I don't know, but I'm sure you will tell me.
Well, so far it's been 3. Hearts at the top, Celtic and Rangers. But there is a 4th team, would you believe it? Motherwell, a team that, again, I think it's got a bit under the radar considering how well Hearts have been doing. Motherwell have won 8 matches in their last 10. They're undefeated in 10. The last time they lost was against Rangers on Boxing Day, I think it was. Won 8 of the last 10, including against Celtic. So Celtic and Motherwell have a game in hand over the other two. But hypothetically, if they win that game in hand, the table will look like this. Hearts on 63, Celtic on 58, Rangers 57, Motherwell 56. And that's with only 9 matches of the season to go. It's so exciting. But apart from anything else, Hearts do have at least a 5-point lead over the other two. Currently, it's 6 over Rangers. This could finally happen. The duopoly may finally be broken in Scottish football. It's very exciting. And the other thing you may have missed, I'm going to say, the Flamengo manager, Filipe Luis, did you see that he's just been fired as manager?
After 8-0 victory?
After an 8-0 victory and an 11-0 victory aggregate score. But I thought I'd include this because I got a couple of trivial questions. So Filipe Luis, in charge of Flamengo, obviously during the Club World Cup, they defeated Chelsea. Really impressive manager. He's been in charge for 100 matches. 100 matches and out, essentially. How many trophies do you think he's won?
I think he won the.
Because keep in mind, it's Brazil, so there are a lot of like sort of smaller competitions, sort of state competitions, things like that.
He won the Copa Libertadores.
He did, yes, he did.
I think he won the Brasileirão.
I think they won the league, yeah, Serie A. So a league and continental double, I think, last season.
I know that there is the Apertura and Clausura in Brazil too. No?
Yeah. Keep going.
But I don't think he won the 2. He won 1 of them. I think I would go with. With 4 because there is also the Copa do Brasil.
Yeah, the answer's 7. He's won 7 trophies in 100 matches, which averages out as a trophy in every 14 matches. And he got
still
fired.
being fired.
He got fired. The funny thing is, it's only been, I think, 3 matches at the start of the season. They've won 1, drawn 1, and lost 1. It's like fired. Yeah. Unbelievable. Right.
Lucky for Arteta, man, that his management aren't flamingos.
Right. Do you have anything for the trivial trivia?
I don't. This is your part.
Oh, usually yes. Okay, I do have a pretty good one. Okay, so since we're talking about Mikel Arteta, let's do Arsenal. All right. So since mid-December, they have played 21 matches. Okay, 21 matches. In that time, guess how many own goals they've scored, or rather, own goals have been scored to benefit Arsenal. So in 21 matches, how many times has an own goal been scored to benefit Arsenal? In 21 matches.
6.
So in Capia is officially an own goal. The one that beats Chelsea was the 8th own goal in just 21 matches.
Because I saw the stats a few weeks ago. It was 5, and I think it was the best goal scorer. And I got in Capia, but who are the other ones?
Oh, I didn't write that down. You can't expect me to do everything. Right, on that note, I'm going to take me and my confusing top away. Thank you so much for everyone watching, either via the live stream or afterwards. Thank you so much, Leo, for joining me.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, everyone. Don't hesitate to leave a comment. Follow us on our socials, on YouTube for the replay.
Absolutely. Keep your eyes open for the midweeks. I believe this midweek's it's some cup competitions across the week.
Yeah.
But until then, we'll see you next week for more league football from the top 5 European leagues on this lovely, the European Soccer Show. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Have a great week, everybody.
Have a great week, everyone.